Yeah. Okay. Namaste, everyone. We are starting. Going on Facebook. Yeah. Okay. Namaste, everyone. We are starting. Going on Facebook. Okay. Hari Om. Hari Om. Is this? Mm, Can someone please check if we are live on Facebook? I think I am, but I'm not sure. We are. Okay. Yes, Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.
It's live, Dipti ji.
Yeah. Okay, great. So let's start. Krishna Namastu. Hari Om. Om. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yes.
Dipti ji recording.
Recording, Deepti ji.
Thank you, Jean. Okay, so we are seeing every time I keep it ready. 1 minute, please, everyone. I think, yeah, here we are. That's right. So, yeah. So we are seeing verse 21. We finished the important discussion, clarification, a doubt that can emerge in a serious student's mind. When we say serious, we mean those who are following the text, जो पढ़ रहे हैं. Serious, a lot of us would be, all of us would be rather. But those who are studying the text, when you start studying and putting your mind into a topic, naturally there can be a few doubts that arise. As you are reading it, there would be incomplete knowledge in one. Shastra accepts and knows. In fact, that's the way education is supposed to be. If our knowledge is perfect and if it's complete, we don't need knowledge further. But we need knowledge because knowledge is not complete in us. So whatever we are learning is bound to have certain clarifications sought, certain doubts that arise on the topic that we are listening, and want to understand it better so that when our clarity is formed, I'm going to emphasize on this. When there is clarity, clarity means बुद्धि को स्पष्ट हो गया है और मन में कोई संशय नहीं है. Remember the definitions of mind and buddhi as they arise in Tattvabodh. Buddhi is nishchayatmika buddhi. And what is mind? Mind is samshayatmaka buddhi. Samshaya is its nature. Doubts, uncertainty, incomplete thoughts, wavering between this end and that end, fluctuating thoughts, indecisive. These are all the qualities of the mind. This is the mind. Why qualities? This is the mind. That which fluctuates, that which is uncertain, that which is indecisive, that which is emotionally ridden. That is mind. What is clarity when we talk of in education? We mean buddhi has become nishchayatmika. It has understood the topic to its capacity. All of us have different varying capacities of our buddhi. To our best buddhi today, the topic is clear to us after we have put our buddhi in it. We tried to understand and we have understood, and our mind doesn't feel doubting in it. It doesn't have a doubt in it. Thus, he says, such clarity when it comes to a person, that clarity transforms that vision, inner vision that one has acquired, that transforms one's springboard of actions, perceptions, and thereby experiences and life journey in relative terms. So the clarity is important when it comes to knowledge. If one has doubts, I'm repeating, if one has doubts in the knowledge, then that doubting knowledge cannot give us a direction. Therefore, what does Shankara do? Acharyas in the past, in the parampara, this is the nature of education of this Shastra. There is very little reading here to be done. Entire Vedas, Vedic Shastra is hearing, listening. Your ears have to be receptive. When we say ears have to be receptive, means your mind is attentive to the sounds, to the words that are falling in the ears, through the ears. And your mind gathers the knowledge. And then it reflects on it. And then if the doubts come, then those doubts are clarified. Mostly the text itself is complete. We really have lesser we say and lesser we do at an individual level, more clarity we will have because Shastra is complete in itself. So to remove those doubts that are going to swabhavically arise in a thinking person, studying person, जो अध्यात्म विद्या पा रहा है, अपना मन और बुद्धि उस श्रवण में लगा रहा है और उस मन और बुद्धि में जो तपस कर रहा है, उसमें एक संशय आ सकता है with reference to the second line of the 21st verse, and which Shankara has now dealt with. And I'll summarize it for the sake of gaining complete clarity once more, repeating the topic. What is the second line? Shariram Kevalam Karma. We are on chapter 4, verse 21 of Bhagavad Gita. The second line of it is Shariram Kevalam Karma Kurvan Na Apnoti Kilvisham. Kurvan means करते हुए, doing, करते हुए, केवल शरीर कर्म करते हुए, न किल्बिषम प्राप्नोति. Kilbisham means dirt, mala, stain, dag. What is that dag? What is that stain? What is that mala? Impurity, as we call it. Antakaran ki ashuddhi. What is antakaran ki ashuddhi? All jiva bhav and its related thoughts and emotions. Jiva bhav में जो उठता है, this is all ashuddhi. Na kilbisham prapnoti. The verse is saying he will not get this impurity. He doesn't get this stain, ragadvesh, ahankar. Ultimately, it comes down to pap, because if your mind has any of these impurities and you act on them, then this is creating a cycle, not auspicious in the future. Therefore, pap inwards. So, different ways you can interpret the word kilbisham. All of these meanings point to the same thing, that those kilbisham, what has become a dirt, accumulated dirt in one's mind, what is an accumulated impurity in oneself, that is our obstacle for Vidya. But such a person does not gain that. Na apnoti. Apnoti. Apnoti means prapnoti. प्राप्त नहीं करता. वो किल्बिश को प्राप्त नहीं करता. उसके अंतःकरण में मल इकट्ठा नहीं होता. The mind is free of all these dirt related accumulations. कौन नहीं करता? He said in the first line, Nirashihi, he is without expectations. Yatta, he is a one who's controlled his antakaranam. He's got his sense organs and his mind in niyama. Yama, niyama. In general word, self-control. Tyakta sarva parigraha. He is also given up all parigraha. Ikattha karna. Kisko ikattha? What are we collecting? We collect objects and people around us. Why do we collect? Because there is a future expectation of a hope, or future expectation of happiness in it. So we collect them. One who has stopped collecting this with an idea of a future happiness. It's a very beautiful point when we start reflecting. Future happiness is out of context. Who are we when we start the Siddhant in life? Siddhant mein, when we start abiding, who are we? We are Purnam now. Anandam now. So there is no seeking of happiness. That's the correction we keep ourselves at. Once the basic knowledge is clear to us, rest of our life is all self-sadhana. What is that self-sadhana? It's in the form of nididhyasana. What is that nididhyasana? All these habitual patterned thinking that we have, every time they rise, we dilute them, neutralize them in the light of the knowledge that we have acquired. What is the knowledge we have acquired? This Atma, this me, this I is complete, Puna. My I perception has to get sukshma. My I must have correction. Who am I? That must have correction. But whatever relative I have, even that relative I has to be dismissed because I am ultimately that from whom the relative I is rising, who's giving birth to the relative I, the cognition of the relative I. So this relative I, really speaking, is mithya, is false, is an appearance, is only transactional. My right word I am going to stick to is it's transactional. I don't need an I if I am not in transaction. I means when I am identified with the body, mind, and senses, thoughts, and शरीर, तादात्म्यम है तो I है. और वो I जो तादात्म्यम से है, उसकी उपयोग है. It has a utility. It has a transactional value. I cannot transact as one who's now talking unless until I have a sense of I with reference to the talker. There will be no, the minute I say I am not I and I am Atma, there is no transaction possible from the standpoint of Atma. So even a Jnani, when he transacts in identification, but not in delusion. He identifies with whatever organs and whatever karma requires. He identifies with that and does the karma, does the transaction, but he does not misbelieve himself. He does not have a false knowledge. He does not have that तादात्म्य में जो बुद्धि of मैं बनी है, वही सत्य है, वो बुद्धि नहीं है उसकी, वो करेक्ट हो गई. How did it get corrected? How did it get corrected? By constant nididhyasan, constant practice. So he said, such a person who has given up all of this, वो केवल शरीर से कर्म करता हुआ किल्बिश को नहीं प्राप्त होता. Who has achieved all the first line, त्यक्ता सर्व परिग्रह, yata chitta, that yati, who's controlled his antakarnam, and nirashihi, such a person, kevalam shariram karma, na kilbisham apnoti. So what is that interpretation that Shankara says? He says, for the maintenance of the body, वो जो भी कर्म करता है सिर्फ शरीर यात्रा के लिए, शरीर को जिंदा रखने के लिए. शरीर प्रसाद है भगवान का. It's an acquired gift. It's come for a certain prarabdha to be lived. Only for that sake, respecting that, he does whatever minimum he needs to do. Bhiksha, yatanam, do whatever karma is required only for that. But remember, and that's a huge practice, because in our thinking, we tend to latch on to what is convenient to us. When he says, for the maintenance of the body, he has said already, tyakta sarva parigraha. When someone has given up all collection, then how does he maintain his body? Because to maintain the body, you either do some work yourself or you have to ask. That's how Shankara says in the following verse also. Or you do yachana, मांगते हो. या खुद करते हो या फिर आप मांगते हो. जो खुद करता है वो प्रवृत्त है. He is a प्रवृत्त साधक, प्रवृत्त ज्ञानी. They are taking care of their own sharir yatra by their own karma, effort. Those who have given up all parigraha, he is a nivritta jnani. He has no home, no collections, no nothing, no bank balance, no. Just maintenance ke liye. Now it is accepted, okay, shariram kevalam karma. So only for that sake. Such a person, for the maintenance of the body, either he does or he asks, both would be fine In the Bhashyam, he says, Shankara, it is allowed by the Shastra, only then that karma will not accumulate phalam, papa. This should be clear. So who is this Shariram Kevalam Karma? What is Shankara saying? For the maintenance of the body. Another person can understand it literally. Shariram Kevalam Karma, only bodily done action, will not give papa, which brings up two options. And each option has two sub-options. Two options that come up is शरीर से जो कर्म कर रहा है केवल उसी को पाप नहीं होगा, बाकी हाँ, शरीर से जो केवल कर्म कर रहा है, who is doing only actions by the body, will not get papam, which means even when he does karma, which is, what are the two subsets? Oh, I'm restating. Extremely clear this has to be. There are two sections, two thoughts, two options that come up of the second line. शरीर से केवल कर्म करता हुआ किल्बिष पाप नहीं प्राप्त करता. First option will be, that means karma according to Vedas is vihit and nishit. When you say, when he does kevala sharira karma, then it would include vihit karma also. He does vihit and nishit. It will include both of them. When it includes both of them, he says, doing only that which is from निषिद्ध कर्म, केवल शरीर से जब निषिद्ध कर रहा है, he will not get papam, which means it is going against the basic siddhant of Shastra. If you do adharam, if you do wrong action, you accumulate papa. Even when done from the body, doing a karma which is pratishiddha, you accumulate papa. But what will it turn out to say? That such a person who does karma only at the level of the body, even if it is nishiddha, he will not get papa. So what is the flaw? Viruddha abhidhanam prasajjeta. He will get the flaw of viruddham, abhidhanam, shastra. That's the first flaw. Then he says, to say that he is doing vihita karma from the body, vihit karm karta hua पाप नहीं होगा. That is obvious. What you cannot get as papam, you cannot even remove. जो मिला ही नहीं, वो हटेगा कैसे? Why will Bhagwan give a statement that he will not get? He's not getting, then where is the question of saying he will not get? So, that is aprapta pratisheda prasanga. Is this clear? First 2 points. It's actually very, very intricate, but clear, no? Everyone's clear in these two? Okay.
Diptiji, the second point is not very clear about the Vihita karma.
When you say that he's doing vihita karam, he will not get papa. That is obvious that he will not get papa. जो मिला ही नहीं है, क्योंकि विहित कर्म करके पाप मिलता नहीं है, तो वो अप्राप्त है. तो जो अप्राप्त है, तो उसका निषेध कैसे होगा? That's why that I think last class I took the example of, what is the example I said? Poison. If someone has, the doctor says remove the poison from the body, but is the person even taken poison? जब उसने लिया ही नहीं है, तो where is the question of a correction? Where will the moolam verse say that such a person will not gain papam? He is not gaining papam anyway, so there is no need for a mandate. So अप्राप्त, जो हुआ ही नहीं प्राप्त, उसका प्रतिषेध का प्रसंग आ ही नहीं सकता. So both the points of the first clear?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay. Now the second thing he says in the second option, when you say the verse Shariram Kevalam Karma, केवल शरीर से करता है, it automatically implies that when he does karma from Vak and Manasakaram, वाक और मानस कर्म से करेगा तो पाप मिलेगा, क्योंकि केवल शरीर से करेगा तो पाप नहीं मिलेगा. Implication is वाक और मानस कर्म से किया हुआ कर्म पाप देगा. That is the second point. Now this second point also you will have the same branch, Vihit and Nishid. If there is someone वाक और मानस विहित कर्म कर रहा है, तो विहित कर्म को पाप नहीं लगेगा, which is already anuvad. It is already stated and it's an anuvad. He will not get vihit anushtan kilbisham prapti. No, the second one. Bhuta artha anuvada matram anarthakam syat. Because he is already doing वाक और मानस के विहित कर्म करता है, तो पाप नहीं लगता. ये तो अनुवाद है. It is restated already. And अगर वो निषिद्ध कर्म करता है and you say उसको पाप नहीं लगता, then that is viruddham again. Is that clear? Okay. So these 4 points, basically there are 2 points. Of each of these 2 points, there are 2 points each. What is the Tatparyam? Tatparyam is, therefore Shankara says, what interpretation I have given is the right interpretation. And what is that? He says, in my understanding, as I'm saying it, there will be no flaw that will come up in your understanding. एक साधक के जीवन में आगे चल के सही मार्गदर्शक रहेगा, because you're following the right perception within yourself. So you remain on the right path. What is that? Sharira sthiti matra prayojanam. Yada tu, if the opposite of it, the meaning is, as I have said, he says, Sharira sthiti matra, Shariram kevalam, Shariram karma abhipreta. Only for the sake of the maintenance of the body is that indicated. Tada, then drishta adrishta prayojanam karma. Whatever is the karma which gives drishta phal, adrishta phal, in the form of vidhi and pratishedha, whether it is done through sharira, vak or manasa, nirvartya means executed from the body, mind or the speech. Anyat akurvantaihi eva shariradibihi, any karma that is done from any of these 3 levels, sthiti matra prayojanam kevala shabda prayoga. So that kevala word should be only taken as sharira sthiti matra prayojanam. I am taking some extra time on this, perhaps because in my mind, I see it as very, very important and valuable. It's a very big, to me, it appears as a very huge clarification done. How should you conduct your life once you have chosen to stay on the path of Atma Vidya and you are giving up karmas? Why do we do karma? For Sharira Sthiti Matra. We are all engaged in, people who are engaged in work. You work for Artha, Kama, Dharma, either of them. You maintain the cycle of action because there is a Karya Karana Bhav, a cause and effect relationship between action and fruit seen by you. And that fruit is a desired fruit for you. So actions bring us something, is our belief, is our knowledge, is our understanding today. So we remain engaged in action because it takes care of our Sharira Sthiti. It takes care of our Yoga Kshema. As we said, one of the things is you have to work for it. So those who work for it. But those in whom the Jignasa or the Vairagyam has matured, and they see the futility of the realm of karma. They see redundancy of remaining in that cycle because karma perpetuates karma. I think we all know by now, we are not children any further. You enter any realm of karma, it opens up a whole baggage of another cycle of karma. Those who are actively pursuing a life of activity know that it is not so easy to trim away activities because every activity brings with it another set of responsibility, another set of commitment, another set of engagements, transactions. It creates and keeps life moving within it. If a person needs that, well and good. But the one who is a seeker of Atma Vidya, उसको इसका इतना जरूरत और प्रयोजन दिखता नहीं है. And I mean this now. मतलब obviously Shastra says it, so you accept the statements as is. For the one who wants to establish in the knowledge, they take they ask in the early stages, they ask their teachers or they ask the elders, if I don't enter the realm of action, how do I sustain myself? How will I manage life? People ask, how do you manage? If you don't earn, how will you live? What will happen when there are emergencies, etc., etc.? Everyone has to address these questions. Who is a yati? Whose jignasa and vairagya has matured enough to say that how much karma should I depend on? How much time and energy should I devote to that aspect of life which will only take care of Sharira Yatra, and that should be good. इससे ज्यादा की ना जरूरत है ना आवश्यकता है. So whether one is a pravritta sadhak, which means they've entered, even if they've entered a grahasti, how much action will they perpetuate? Only as much as is required to keep a balanced grahasti. Rest of the time is in chitta shuddhi and in vichar, sadhanas. Chosen. Life is chosen. It's a model of living a life. And what about the others? जो निवृत्त हैं, वो तो वैसे भी they have given up karma. So what are they going to do? For them, this verse becomes a guide. It's a sanction from Shastra. आपको संशय नहीं रहना चाहिए मन में. Mother Shruti tells us, Mata Shruti tells us, आपको मन में संशय नहीं रहना चाहिए. शरीर स्थिति के लिए जो भी कर्म कर रहे हो और उसमें जो भी मिलता है, आप अगर उसमें अपना जीवन निर्वाह कर रहे हो, अगर if you spend your life only within that, and the next verse he's going to add, yadricha labha santushtah. There is that condition over there that he will put in. Your focus remains on your establishment of knowledge, whatever karma is gained, and whatever comes in that process is purely from Ishwar. You do not attribute people in between. It is not len den. It is clearly Sharira Sthiti Matra. This prayojan of that karma is only for that sake, along with the conditions, the first line and the next verse that is going to be also adding on to this, along with this condition, he says, this Kevala Shabda means karmas are allowed for such a person. And important is what? When he does it in such a way, he will not get papa, means he will be freed from the karma cycle. उस पर ऋण नहीं चढ़ेगा. I often talk of this. A lot of people do not understand this fundamental. Why do we remain caught up in a cycle also of karma, even if we are wanting freedom from that cycle? Because Vedic Siddhant is we carry these rinam, 5 kinds of rinam with us the minute we are born. ये ऋण है. शरीर जैसे ही हम एक प्राप्त करते हैं, एक ऋण है हम पे. क्या ऋण है? We have the ऋण of our rishis, our gurus, those who have kept this adhyatmic parampara alive. We have that. We have the ऋण of our ancestors who have kept the lineage alive. We have the rinam of manushya, saha manushya, our contemporaries who are helping each other in some form or the other. It could be a far off chain that I cannot see. The chain that has got started by, say, a farmer is working somewhere and is producing a yield which is coming to me, which I'm consuming. There is a rinam. Then there is a rinam of all the plants, of all the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom. We carry this rinam. When we say kilbisham, na apnoti, means a person who is finely tuned his attitude, that in his karma, he is only doing the karma because whatever, it's not with that sadhya sadhana bhava, कि मुझे कुछ करना है तो मुझे कुछ मिलेगा. He only does what he's supposed to do, knowing fully well that in the law of karma kuch milega, whatever comes to him, that is what he maintains his life within. Such a person will not carry the rinam. He will be freed of rinam. And that rinam, when you are freed of, is relative shanti, is relative mukti. That person can continue the adhyanam, can continue vichar, because the pull and the push from the external world, your own karma phala rinam is not pulling you into the world. To pay that off, you're not engaging back again into relative work and etc. So it is so essential, and I'm bringing up related or unrelated, whichever way one wants to see it. But a lot of people say this Shastra Vidya, why in our parampara, despite of difficulties people may have had in their personal lives, they refrained from charging. Why? Because the attitude is this karma is for chitta shuddhi. This karma is purely going as loka sangraha. If I am going to engage my ahankar of karta in it, then I'll become a rini. And if I become a rini, then at some point, I'll have to pay the loan. Rini means what? You are taking a loan. When we take a loan from the bank, what are we? We are rini. So that rini, idea is what? It's a loan. That loan you will have to pay off. Such a person does not accumulate the loan. And it's a very fine, it's a model in which you can pursue Atma Vidya. So he says, and I think now we are clear on this verse. If there's any doubt, I'll still take a little pause. Because for everyone who is a serious seeker, who wants to live a life pursuing this knowledge, ये एक गांठ बांधने वाली बात होती है. That come what may, whatever comes is Ishwar Prasad. We do not attribute a lane then over there. It's a realm in which ahankar doesn't intervene. Corrective actions are always taken, so a lot of people do take corrective actions, but that's your independent situation. And is that okay? So now we come to, so all these words is, he's saying, what my interpretation is, evam shariram kevalam karma iti. This asya artha parigrahe nirvatyam bhavati. When you take the meaning of the verse as for the sake of the maintenance of the body, actions done will not give papam, will not give rinam, such a meaning will have no contradiction. Nirvatyam. It will not be, it will not have nishedha. It will not have flaw. It will not have a flaw. Okay. So then we start with the 22nd verse now. So can someone chant the verse twice?
I'll try.
Yeah.
यदृच्छालाभसन्तुष्टो द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरः समसिद्धावसिद्धौ च कृत्वापि न निबध्यते. यदृच्छालाभसन्तुष्टो द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरः समसिद्धावसिद्धौ च कृत्वापि न निबध्यते.
The first line, in case if you're breaking after santushto, then it is a visarga, so santushtaha. If you're not breaking, then in one line, santushto dvandvatito. So now he's talking about verse 22, continuing with the pravritta jnani. Who is a pravritta jnani? The one who from the very beginning, from brahmachari stage, means from the learning stage, keeps himself engaged in actions while aspiring for chitta shuddhi through them and aspiring for knowledge along with it. Such a one, what about him? He says, he is yadricha labha santushtaha. Yadricha without icha. Yat, which, without any icha. Labha, gain. Whatever gain he has got without any icha. Very simply put, icha means desire. That desire makes us get into, like I said, two formats we have. Either we will pursue it, push us into action, or if the desire is there and you are not doing any action, you will have no choice but to ask someone to fulfill it for you. So, दो मार्ग है, करोगे या मांगोगे. He says, whatever is gained, labha santushtah, maintains santosh. Whatever is got without asking, aprarthitah. Shankara has given the word. Aprarthitah means बिना किसी से मांगे, याचना किए. Not asking anyone, and whatever you have got. Yat richa labha santushtah refers to the person. Whoever is santoshi, who's santusht in whatever is got without asking. We hear stories of, I'm not sure if it is followed as seriously anymore. All my stories are 20, 30 years old now. In the recent times, I don't know if people still do that, but we were told there could probably still be sannyasis like that. When they take to sannyasa, I'll tell you why am I saying that later. When they take to sannyas, they have no choice but to live on bhiksha. There used to be a sannyasi in either Shivananda ashram or Kailash ashram. I'm forgetting where it was, but we were given this example. When he took new sannyas, naya sannyasi bana, this verse, he said he's going to abide it. He's not going to ask. So in those days also, they used to go ask in a few homes for bhiksha, bring it back, and that is the parampara is. So he would go to wherever, but would just stay there. And if he stayed, if someone gave whatever they gave him to eat or whatever he got, that was it. There were a few places they had listed or they had it under their thing, not repeating it again and again, but would go there. If mil gaya to mil gaya, nahi mila to nahi mila, would come back. Why? Because person said, I want to make this an attitude. See, when you're new to sannyas also, it is not necessary that ज्ञानी नहीं हो आप. जब आप संन्यास, when you take sannyas for shastra adhyayanam, you are vividisha sannyasi, means you are still desiring to gain knowledge. So there is a very little difference between a grahastha sannyasi, a grahastha manasa sannyasi, or a grahastha sadhak, and a nishit vividisha sannyasi. There's very little margin between them. It's just a lifestyle difference. Mentally, they could be at the same place. Spiritually grown at the same point. Same growth, but external lifestyles may be different. So such a person who's newly taken sannyas for the sake of establishment of the value, they said, I'm going to abide in this. Whatever comes my way without asking, I will live in that. And initially it is, since anything, when you take to a new attitude, it has its own struggle. It has its own time frame of practice where you're not yet established, but you are no longer what you were habitually established in before. So you're not established in the new attitude, and you are now not following the old established habit. So it has a little struggle. So some days he would have nothing to eat. So if a co-sadhak said, okay, share from me, take from me, he said, I can have the attitude of, yes, this is also coming from Ishwar. You also offering, I'm not asking you, you're offering. So if you're offering, I'll say Ishwar has given. But this sannyasi stood to say, I have chosen these few places. Let me for some time stay within that. Let me only stick to that. And sure enough, after some time, it becomes a habit and then you become free of it completely. And idea is it's got such a huge value. What is it? बिना मांगे अगर कुछ मिले. What is the freedom in that? Can someone spell out the freedom one has in that? बिना मांगे कुछ मिले तो.
You are not dependent on anything or anyone.
Yes, you're not dependent on anything or anyone.
No expectation.
No expectations.
No
and then
attachment.
No attachments. Therefore, all these points put together, therefore,
You're free and no bondage.
you remain free and no bondage. And therefore, what is that which gets what is that which gets more and more convinced in your buddhi, in your mind? Every time you receive something unasked, क्या होता है जो और दृढ़ होता है?
ईश्वर पर श्रद्धा दृढ़ होती है.
Absolutely. ईश्वर प्रसाद बुद्धि दृढ़ होती रहती. ईश्वर पर श्रद्धा दृढ़ होती है. ईश्वर से संबंध दृढ़ होता है. ईश्वर के साथ जुड़ जाता है. Because every time you realize the नियम works. बिना मांगे कुछ मिला है तो वो ईश्वर प्रसाद है. मांग के अगर कुछ मिला है तो वो इच्छा पूर्ति है, वो भी ईश्वर प्रसाद है, मगर वो मेरी इच्छा की पूर्ति है. That means it will have limited gain. I asked, so I got. It will have an end. It will have vyaya. It will go away. It will have shathilta. It will slowly, the fruit will wane away and I will be put back into the cycle of effort again. Without asking if I have got. Then I have no bondage, I have no expectation, I have nothing to return back. It is not a vyavhar, it is not a len-den, it is nothing that you give me so I'm obliged back. No, what is it?
It's unlimited.
It's absolutely unlimited. It is freedom. It results in a shanti. And that shanti becomes a springboard for vichar. It brings that detachment from within. Because now your entire dependency, if you can call it as dependency, is purely Ishwar ka sambandh. You know very well that the niyam works. So संशय नहीं आता. जब जिसको जैसी जरूरत है, there is a provision in nature, तब उसको वो चीज वहां मिलती है. There is a provision. But when is that provision invoked or enjoyed? आपको कब उसका एक अनुभव होता है? Is my question clear?
जब कुछ मिल जाए without asking.
हाँ, that means आपको कब मिलेगा ये without asking?
जब आप मांगोगे नहीं, अगर आपको जरूरत थी वो तो भी.
When you have trust and faith.
And you're doing what you're supposed to do. Remember, he said in the previous verses, akarta doesn't mean, akarma doesn't mean inaction. ये जो बिना मांगे रह रहा है, वो तमस में नहीं है. जो तमस वाला इंसान है, means he has desires, but he wants others to come and fulfill it for him. He's not in that stage of mind. He completely engaged in doing what he's supposed to do, and he leaves the fruits in time. That is one. Yadricha labh santushtah. He is the one who is freed of, happy, santusht, content with whatever comes without asking. Bin mange. That's finally the state in which Atmanishtha starts to happen. When you can be content living with whatever you are gaining without asking. Dvandvatita. Let me pause here and just say, no, let me not. The context is without asking. Let's stick to that. Dvandvatitaha. Then you have one who is freed of dvandva. Dvandva is what? Pairs of opposites. What is pairs of opposites? Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, Labha, Hani. Who remains fairly sama. I think he writes here somewhere, sama. Oh,
I think chapter 2, verse 38.
very good. What was the verse?
The sama dukkha sukha
Sukhe.
dhiran labha labha jaya
Labho
jaya
Jaya Jaya.
same kritva.
And also, Yadricha Labha Santushtaha has also come living without asking anything. So, Dvandvatikaha. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Look at this meaning of Shankara. Santushtaha, what does he say? Sanjat alam pratyayaha. Alam means little, thoda. Sanjata, whatever I have got, that little is enough. That is called santosh. Beautiful meaning. I hope it's conveyed. See, if you were not doing the bhashyam, santosh is a general term. Now, once you read the bhashyam, you realize, oh my God, santosh was a generalized explanation. We all understand what santosh is, we bypass it. Okay, contentment. Fine. What is contentment? If you ask, what is contentment? Alam pratyaya. Whatever sanjataha, जो भी मिलता है, उसमें alam pratyaya. Alam means thoda. Enough. Thode mein enough. That little is enough. When we say little is enough. Alam. Alam. Remember that word. Alam pratyayaha is santoshaha. I get little, I'm happy. Such a one. He is the one. Aprarthita upanataha labhaha. Without asking. Aprarthita is not asking. Bina mange. Labhaha. Gain. That is yadricha labhaha. Tena, uska. That's a person who's like that. Santushtaha. Sanjata alam pratyayaha. Such a person has contentment, and that contentment is defined as having little is more, that kind of a thing. Dvandva atitaha. Dvandvaihi is Shita, Ushna, Adipihi. Hanyamanaha api. Dvandva atitaha vimatsaraha. Vimatsaraha is free of Isha, free of matsarya bhav. So free of otherness, free of a sense of competition, a sense of comparison, a sense of betterness.
Incomplete. Sense of incomplete.
Incomplete से आता है, but vimatsarah, matsarya bhav is envy. So comparison comes over there. So that is then samaha siddhau asiddhau cha. He is same in siddhi and asiddhi, gain or not gain, as alam pratyaya he anyway has. Cha kritva api, in whatever he is doing also. Karke kritva, in whatever he is done also. Api na nibadhyate, he is not bound, he is not entangled. So siddhi, accomplished, fulfilled, completed. You started something and you have to leave it behind. Incomplete. asiddhi. शुरू तो किया था सोच के कि हम क्या क्या करेंगे, बट ईश्वर्स विल के बिना पत्ता भी नहीं हिलता. If it's not written for you, if it is not designed for you, if it is not destined for you, if it is not to be one of the part of your prarabdha karmas, phala. Having done also, you won't be able to complete it. So, asiddhi and siddhi में भी वो जो समबुद्धि रखता है, that you cannot gain anything or lose anything without Ishwar Kripa. Such a one is not bound. He is also not bound. Okay, so what if there's any other point? He says here of the, so we've done this. So, Shita Ushna Adibhi Hanyamanaha Api Avishinna Chittaha. Even when he experiences the extremes, Avishinnaha Chit. Beautiful meaning. Avishinna means without any grief. उसके विषाद नहीं रहता उसके चित्त में. So, whatever be the dvandvas he experiences, has no grief felt. Such a one is dvandvatitaha. It's no remorse, no grief. That's the one who's a dvandvatitaha. Vimatsara vikata matsaraha. What is that? Nirvaira buddhi. Nirvaira buddhi, as we just said, vair nahi hai. So, nirvaira buddhi. What is vaira? Feeling of competition, feeling of envy, feeling of enmity comes only when there's a feeling of competition. So all that nirvaira buddhi. Samaha, excuse me. Samaha tulyaha yadricha labhasya siddhau asiddhau cha. So tulyaha remains same. This can be full lifetimes sadhana. Tulyaha. Whatever comes, siddhi or asiddhi. Yeah, and you see this comes again and again every few verses. These are the practices. So that's why it keeps getting repeated. Karam yog ka phal kya hai? That's samatva buddhi. In what? Gain or loss, etc. There also we saw dvandvatitaha. Again, it means this is reaffirmed again and again that this should be our watch, alertness. Okay. When our mind goes away into senses of any of these, bring it back into your own sadhana, whatever you've chosen. Then, yaha evam bhutaha yatihi. In this manner, yatihi, the one who's mentioned as yadricha labha santushtaha, dvandvatitaha, and even the previous verse, all those qualities of the person that has been mentioned, anna dehe, even with reference to anna adi. What is it that is required for sharira sthiti hetoho? Whatever is needed as food and shelter and clothes, minimum what is required, sharira sthiti hetu, for the sake of sharira sthiti, us reason se, whatever he needs, labha labhayaha, samaha. And what is that samaha? Harsha vishada varjitaha. He's free of, feeling very elated because I got something and feeling very dejected because I did not get something. Harsha vishada varjitaha is samaha. Karmadau akarma adi darshi. So who is this person? Come back to verse 18. कर्मों में अकर्म देखता है, अकर्म में कर्म को देखता है. यथाभूत आत्मदृष्टि निष्ठः. His atma drishti is nisht, yathabhut, in the right manner. Karam mein akaram and akaram mein karam. His drishti is nisht there. Sun, rehti hai. Rehte hue. Sharira sthiti matra prayojane. only for the sake of Sharira Sthiti, उस प्रयोजन से भिक्षा अटन आदि कर्माणि. He does these few karmas like us going for bhiksha and maintenance of the body, so snanam and whatever little they do. Even those who get into more engaged form of karma or loka sangraha, like teaching and all this, even they choose whatever they do is only got given back to the society, is for the sake of the welfare of people. That is their basic anchor, internal anchor. So bhiksha atana adi means moving, asking, going from one place to another. And so sharira adi nirvartya, for the sake of the maintenance, sharir adi se jo bhi karam kar rahe hain, what is their attitude? Now he says, naiva kinchit karomi aham. Even in that little karma that he does, थोड़ा कर्म भी वो जो कर रहे हैं फॉर शरीर स्थिति, उसमें भी उनका भाव क्या है, उनका एटीट्यूड क्या है? नैव किंचित करोमि. I am not the one who does. And he says this verse is going to come in 5th chapter, 8th verse, and it has also been seen in the past in this. And also, guna guneshu vartante, the 3rd chapter, 28th verse. He has this drishti, samyak drishti, that Atma is a karta and all karma is based only on prakriti, based on gunas. Guna guneshu vartante iti matva, knowing this. Iti evam sada yada, as and when. Samparichakshanaha. He Atmanah kartritva abhavam pashyan. Parichakshanaha means seeing it closely, very well. What? Atma kartritva abhava. In Atma, he sees very clearly that Atma doesn't do anything. Naiva kinchit. Kartritva bhav is not there in Atma. Naiva kinchit, not even little. Bhiksha atan adikam karma karoti. When he does all these karmas also, his vision of Atma remaining a karta and that there is no kartritva abhiman. That's why you often find, even if they were rejected or dejected or they were insulted or they were refused bhiksha from whatever be the attitude they received, they always had that same bhav on the face, and it always was kalyanamastu. Do to kalyanam, na do to kalyanam. ज्यादा दिया तो कल्याणम, नहीं दिया कम दिया तो कल्याणम, पसंद का दिया तो कल्याणम, पसंद का नहीं दिया तो कल्याणम. दैट कल्याण भाव कि तुम्हारा कल्याण हो इस कर्म से कि तुमने दिया, दैट कल्याण भाव डज नॉट चेंज विद व्हाट इज रिसीव्ड. And it's a fantastic, it's something you find freedom in. Everybody can find freedom in that. That's why they represent these values. So, whatever karma they do, bhiksha atanadi, loka vyavhara samanya darshanena tu laukikaihi aropita kartritve, bhiksha atanadau karmani karta bhavati. So even when they are doing all these karmas of bhiksha, etc., or whatever loka sangra karmas they do, they may go places to places teaching and doing all this, and people say, oh, so dynamic, so much work they are doing, etc. That is only loka vyavahara. From the standpoint of laukika drishti, aropita kartritva, it is only an aropanam of kartritva from laukika drishti. As I said earlier, you cannot do any action if you do not engage, if you do not identify with the body. Action is not possible. So whatever identification they keep with the body, there could be an aropanam from people. Laukika drishti, there is an aropanam of kartritva bhav. But within themselves, swa anubhavena, their own anubhava, to indeed shastra pramana janitena, born from shastra praman, means shastra vidya. उस प्रमाण से, by their own sadhana of Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasan, and preceding that Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga and Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Naishalyam, their own effort for gaining that qualification for knowledge, based on Shastra Pramana, they know that their own Swabhav is a Karta Eva. By their Atma Swabhav, they are not the doer. Naiva kinchit karomi aham. And whatever karma is seen to be done by someone, someone means jnani here, that is only laukika drishti aropita kartritvam. Saha evam para adhyaropita kartritvah sharira sthiti matra prayojanam bhiksha atanadikam karma kritva api na nibadhyate. Clear now? So from para adhya, others do the adhyaropanam of कर्तृत्व on them. वो कर रहा है, वो कर रही है, वो कह रहा है, वो ऐसे क्यों कर रहा है, वैसे क्यों कर रहा है. There's so much. In fact, ज्ञानी, the more you get into your sadhana, the more you realize you are the most vulnerable for judgment. Everybody is vulnerable for judgment. But the more you do sadhanas, the more you find freedom for yourself away from samsaric drishti. Because people don't understand these sadhanas, you are most susceptible for their judgments. And invariably, they judge from their gunas. It's nothing to do with who you are. Aropan wo apne man ka karenge, and that will be their gunas. But for the person who is already established in Atmagyan, usko kalyana. No. How does it make a difference? Because whether you superimpose a garland on a snake, on a rope, or a snake on a rope, either way, is it real? No. They are both false. Aropit hai. So you will have both sides of judgments. So he says it is only paradhyaropita kartritva bhava. Whatever karma then they do, which is generally only for Loka Sangraha or for Sharira Sthiti, because here the context is Nivritta Sannyasi. So he has brought it down only to Sharira Sthiti. Karm, jo itna bhi karta hai, na nipathyate, he is bandha hetoho karmanaha. Uska karm bandhan ka hetu nahi banta. The karma does not become the cause of bandhan. Sa hetukasya Jnana Agnina Dagdhatvat. Why does it not become a hetu? Everything has a reason. Why is he freed from that karma? Because karma is a hetu for phal. But in his case, it is not a hetu for phal because of Jnana Agni. Which Jnana Agni? The Agni of 18th verse. Karma, 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 karma. That jnana jo prajwalit ho gayi hai, in that fire of knowledge is burnt away. All karmas was the verse he said. Iti ukta anuvada eva eshaha. This has been said already in 19th verse and 21st verse. So he's completing the Pravritta Jnani here, and in the next verse will be Nivritta Jnani. I think so. I'm sorry. He's finished the Nivritta Jnani. He's coming back to Pravritta Jnani now, which means I'll just quickly rephrase this. when one is on the path of self-knowledge, automatically you have a lifestyle to adopt, you have a choice to be taking. If you remain in pravritti, which means I go along with the field of activities, then my karmas are dedicated for chitta shuddhi and for loka sangraha. Or I have a choice. If my vairagyam is drid and my desires are very few, I can take the choice of bypassing the realm of karma and straight away go to the realm of knowledge, seeking the uh, vyavastha in which my desire for knowledge can be maintained or kept alive. That vyavastha should be there, where my seeking of the knowledge should be fructified. That is a sannyasa marg. So you seek a guru, you seek a withdrawal from society. Thereby, even for Sharira Sthiti, you have to do karma. He said it before also, they also have to do karma. Either of these two attitudes, karma will not bind you if you are doing it in that manner. For Chitta Shuddhi, karam done does not bind you. For Loka Sangraha, karam done does not bind you. Or as a sannyasi, for Sharira Sthiti Matra, whatever karma you do, yadricha lava santushtaha, dvandvatitaha, maintaining your life within that, karma does not bind you. Okay. So now in 23rd verse, I think we'll take that in the next class. Okay, any questions so far? So I guess it's okay now for those who this is the way we will probably till our Zoom allows us again to go back with the text on Facebook. At this point, we can only go live like this on Facebook. The text study material that is directly being also available to study will be on YouTube or on Zoom. Either of these two, you have to join either of the two. Somehow, till Zoom has technical errors, many people, it seems, are having the same problem. There are certain pages you're not able to access to go live on. So Zoom seems to be lost on it also. They don't know what the issue is. But we are comfortable with this, so we'll keep it till further. Okay, no questions, so we'll move on. Can someone conclude the class, please?
ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथ्वी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं शोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः